What's going on, Knights of Fulcrum? It is me, your boy Gilbert,
And me, Harry.
and it is another week. We've got 3 more episodes that have come out of probably the greatest Marvel show that has. Well, I don't want to say the greatest Marvel show ever, but it's the greatest Marvel show that's out right at now, and or at least in the last couple of years. It's the greatest
Yeah,
Marvel
okay.
thing that I think I'm going to say it's better than any of the other crap that we've had to watch the last year, 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think what are the last things we watched. We checked out what's it, Agatha All Along. I'd definitely say I prefer this to Agatha All Along.
Like Moon Knight. We saw Loki season 2. There was What If. I'm
I
pretty
like Moon
sure.
Knight.
No, Moon Knight was good. I'm just saying. I think this is better. But at any rate, if the orgy of evidence behind us and around us hasn't tipped you off, it is a copyright infringement. no, no, but seriously though, and in all seriousness though, it is X-Men. What is it? X-Men 97. I was about to say 74.
No, 97.
Yeah, X-Men 97, and we are doing episodes 4 through 6. And so I just want to ask real quick before we get started on this one: is it better than Daredevil season 2 or Born Again season 2? Yes, very much yes. I think Daredevil Born Again is a good show, and I like season 2, but it is very much better than Loki and Daredevil. It's better than a lot of these, and I think that's just me having nostalgia goggles. But what did you think, Harrison? Are you enjoying the show so far?
I don't know if I'm enjoying it more than I enjoyed some of those things that you're mentioning. Like, I really like Loki. Maybe not season 2 of Loki as much as season 1, but the first season I loved. This is a great show. It's a great continuation of the 90s show. I think that is undoubtable. Not only in its visuals, it keeping the art style, but sort of updating it and showing that they've got a big budget and people care a bit more about how the show looks now. But I don't know. I think it's a double-edged sword, having that retro vibe.
Trying to tweak shit in the background, and I fucked up on that one. Anyway, yeah, but all right. So say that last part one more time about the retro vibe.
I think it could be a bit of a double-edged sword. I think it's really good, really in keeping with the show as it was before now. But for me, I think that might mean that sometimes I find it a little bit slow and a little bit sort of like, oh yeah, this isn't watching cartoons this way isn't the same thing anymore now that I'm older.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's not on every Saturday. You actually have shit to do. You have to wake up and go to work and pay bills, do your shit. Like when you're a kid, you can just wake up in the morning, get your bowl of cereal, watch your cartoons, and then you don't have to worry about shit. Go hang out with your friends or something. So yeah, it's definitely different, but I've been enjoying it. I think it's nostalgia for me because it brings back that feeling of being a kid and watching these old cartoons. And they're going through, like, with season 1 and this season, they're going through at least like 60 some odd years of X-Men comic books just in 8 episodes at a time,
Yeah, they are racking through some things. I'm interested to see a comparison of some of the story elements that are going through in this season and some of the story elements that already got covered in the 90s cartoon. Because there are some things that have popped up and I'm like, I'm sure you did this because I'm sure I learned about this storyline through the 90s cartoon.
That's one thing I was thinking about too, is that so during the openings of these episodes, of all like the 6 that we've seen, they have like little like references or little like snippets of other episodes that happened before, and I'm like, yeah, I agree. I'm sure we've seen other Apocalypse stuff. I'm sure we've seen other things with like Magneto, with just a lot of the different things that pop up here, and I'm like, I don't know. It feels like they are rehashing some stuff, but also I think that's necessary for a lot of the newer audiences. Like, you know what I mean? But it does feel like a retcon in some areas.
Yeah, a little bit. But to be fair, I say that it's not that big of a negative. So I very much hope that everyone else who's watching is enjoying this, because I think there's lots to enjoy in this show.
Mm-hmm. And so with that, let's go ahead and get into it. So we start off episode 4. It's Rise of Apocalypse Part 2. I wonder what's going to happen at the end of the episode, Harrison. No, but we start off with like in the aftermath of the Pharaoh like launching his like Death Star ray at their base. Everyone is dead except for our main heroes, which I like what Magneto says. He's like, I could only save us few. I'm like, it looks like you only tried to save you few.
It's not necessarily in keeping with some things he does later in the episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that is true. Because I'm like, if later in the episode we see him being like super OP, and I'm just like, if you had that kind of power, I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, so Apocalypse is super angry, and he gets over it almost immediately when they tell him like, "Hey, just chill. We want to explain what's going on." Like he blames them for what happened, and they're just like, "Hey, no, dude, relax. We're gonna explain to you what happened. We're from the future," and he just kind of instantly accepts that and calms down. And I think he also says like, "Oh, you survived the blast. That means your strength, like, that you deserve have your say, but I'm going to kill you if I don't like the answers." And he just immediately accepts what they tell him, and I'm like, that's one part I'm not crazy about, is they kind of just gloss over a lot of what would normally be like, take time to do.
Sorry, this is sort of, I think, partly why I mean about some of the more retro vibes, because this is sort of very much a thing that you can glaze over when you're more aimed at children. But when a lot of your audience are people who are 20 years older than they were when they last watched this, it reads differently.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. It almost feels like again, you have to take that lens of it's for children. It's for children. Everything I'm watching is actually meant for presumably my kids. Like I'm supposed to be watching this with my young son right now, but I don't have a son, so it's just me. and and then it has been, I think it's been shown that the main audience of this is mostly like the people who watched the show, like the 30s and 40-year-olds who watched the show when they were younger. So I don't know. It does feel a little like, okay, we're gonna gloss over it because it is a cartoon, but also like, guys, what the hell, man? Like,
there is a plot point that I think gets glossed over, which I think it's in the third episode that we're going to discuss today. So I'll bring that up later. But it's in a moment where not only have we glossed over someone accepting a huge revelation just like that, but later on somebody significantly forgets what they've just done, and acts like there's no way to fix anything, even though they've just done something that could fix it.
All right. Now I think I remember what you're talking. You said it was in the third episode we're going to be talking about. So
yes.
we'll get to that. We'll get to that. But yeah, so he explains to them about the X-Men, about the future, which just seems like a bad idea. Like if you've ever watched any kind of Doctor Who or any kind of like Back to the Future, any time travel thing ever, it's like the ending of this episode is very predictable, because it's like they're sitting there like, oh well, yeah, we're the X-Men, we do this, we do that, mutants and blah blah blah, blah. And they're explaining to him his like hiding the part that he's Apocalypse and whatever, but they're explaining the future, and I'm like, you guys are just gonna make him like, this is pretty obvious, you're just gonna make him Apocalypse, right?
There are some interesting things about the time travel element of this, and I think you can really nerd out on some things. As Dead Guy says in the comments, timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly. But they do some things where they sort of seem to set it up within this episode that the timeline in this cartoon is much more of a sealed knot. So it's possible to do something in the past that defines what your present was, because you were always sort of destined to do that. And like your time travel was already built into the timeline, essentially, which then has some interesting contradictions with the larger MCU, because obviously that's not how time is working in the MCU at the moment. It's much more about alternate realities and diverging paths.
Like it shows that when you alternate or when you time travel, like that's what they talked about in Endgame, I think, is that when you time travel, it creates an alternate universe. It doesn't just make it doesn't that's why it doesn't affect the future or the past or anything. It's why you can change things and take stuff out, because all you're doing is just fucking with different branches. But like I agree with what you said. Like later on, we're kind of getting ahead of it, but they show when they go to the temple, they do kind of show, and I'll show it right here, just a picture of it. Like they kind of show that the timeline is kind of a closed loop, it looks like, at least in this particular version.
Yeah, which it's interesting because in this episode, they tie in something else from the MCU. And so you can see them trying to broaden it out, but then this aspect of time contradicts with that. And it's all a bit strange because, the MCU, for better or worse, its continuity in story is bubbling up and expanding like comics would. They're just comics that cost 500 million per episode.
Yeah.
But so it's fascinating to see, and I'm interested to see how we're going to square this circle. Because even then, there are some points where I'm like going, hang on, but if you did fix Apocalypse, if your plan came to fruition and you convinced him to be a good guy, do the TVA just show up? At this point, do the TVA not exist?
Maybe the TVA, or maybe the TVA, because it's a closed loop on itself. Maybe the TVA has just been kind of just letting it go. It's just like a little. It's almost like a spider. It's almost like the spider web from Into the Spider-Verse. You see the different, like they just kind of let that stuff happen. Like I don't know.
Yeah, perhaps. Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, it's. I don't know exactly what this could have come to, other than what we get in this episode.
Mm-hmm. Which is kind of cool, though, that they are going to bring that kind of stuff up. Like, we do have a lot of different hints to the MCU. So, for example, we have Khonshu here. I didn't know if you clocked that when you first watched it.
Now you say it, it's obvious, but I didn't consider it. Yes, of course, that is Khonshu.
So, yeah, we have Khonshu in there. So, we get to see Abanur, whatever the hell his name is, Apocalypse, yes, as his, like, being sold as a slave, being, having to, again, put up clearly Khonshu like iconography, and then him like as an adult, and then we get to see this, like he has a dream of a celestial yes, telling him to come and be eternal, which I clocked that immediately, and I thought they're trying to like sprinkle in like, oh hey, the Celestials, the Eternals, like all of that other stuff. You remember all that other stuff that we kind of glossed over in the other movies?
Yeah, it's an interesting idea that Apocalypse, as we know him in the future, isn't just this incredibly powerful mutant, that he seems to be turned into a celestial. Not a celestial, sorry, an eternal by the celestial. The celestial specifically says, like you say, be eternal. And it's like, okay, so does this celestial, they refer to it as the Gardener's Gaze, is the name of the constellation that as soon as we see it, we know, oh, those are the eyes of the celestial. Is the Gardener a particular celestial character, and does this Gardener have other plans for Apocalypse to maybe take him to other planets like they've done with the Celestials?
So I did a little bit of a deep dive actually, and it turns out, so like when I saw that there was I always have it on the what's it called, subtitles, and the subtitles here say Esson. So Esson is so he's one of the Celestials. You might remember him in the Guardians of the Galaxy. He's the one who uses the Power Stone to to decimate a planet.
Oh, okay.
So he is like the celestial, or he's a celestial of like destruction, and like he's really into like just wiping out entire planets because that's just what has to happen for the universe to grow, and like he even talks about it in this, about like, oh, you have to be the crashing wave that things break upon. It's in order for the universe to expand, things have to be destroyed, and so he makes him an eternal, essentially. Like, but then we also see, like, again, kind of getting ahead of it, but when they end up going to the structure that turns out to be ship, Apocalypse's like vessel, we get to see that eternal chilling out in there. So yeah, like I think it's kind of cool how they're again bringing in the Eternals. And before that, we also get to see this part where, spoilers, and also I called it last week or last time when we talked about it. It was in fact Kang.
Yes, a very interesting turn of events.
I'm pretty sure if any of us had read like old, I think that they actually did like reveal this in like Fantastic Four and like other X-Men comics, that Rama Tut is always Kang.
Okay, interesting. I was fascinated that we had Kang show up in this. And it got me thinking about how upsetting it is that things with Kang have not moved forward in the MCU for obvious reasons. Because I quite liked the villain they were setting him up as, and his appearances in the MCU so far have actually been really quite good. I really love him in the Loki show. He's interesting in Quantumania. Quantumania has plenty of issues with it, but like the stuff they do with Kang is kind of fascinating.
Yeah, see, I really like how he has his. It looks like he has his own version of Cerebro. It makes it seem like he's like. So the fact that they used John Delancey for this is pretty great, and having all the different voices of like the old like I don't know, crazy Kang, like having Victor Timely probably having like his Ramatut version, probably having like the He Who Remains version in there. Like it's kind of cool, and then being like that this is a nexus between timelines, and that it's like that could explain why he chose this one in particular, is because it's one that the TVA doesn't look at, or maybe the other Kangs don't look at.
Yeah, that's a good point. And he does towards the end of the episode, he says we can't conquer this time, or we need to find another time to conquer. Which is quite fascinating. That he's just jumping between timelines, looking for the one where he can win. Which, interesting enough, it's strange that it felt like a lot of what he was doing was actually encouraging Apocalypse to become what he's going to become, but he doesn't actually seem to want that. Or maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. It seems that he would rather be in charge. But once Apocalypse has sort of changed, he then is like, "Oh no, I've got to back out of here."
See, it's interesting you say that because I'm going to jump to that part real quick because he does he gets into his full on costume and everything, like abandons the Rama Tut stuff and gets into full on Kang costume, and he like yeets himself out of there. But what I found kind of interesting is that he talks about it, he's like, oh well, this time is no longer mine to conquer, but your destiny starts today. Like he tells to this lady, he says your destiny starts today. It's like, because his power can only be challenged by something external, which again, another deep dive, I found out her X-Men or her like mutant name, External.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Yeah, it's X-Ternal.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
So I don't know what her power is, but apparently she like becomes a horseman of Apocalypse, or is like one of his, possibly a love interest of him, I think.
Oh, interesting.
So I think that's also, I think that might be what they're going towards, because what Rogue says to Apocalypse before he changes at the fire, she's like, "Oh well, have you ever felt love before? Well, I hope you do someday for all of our sakes." And he goes off and like goes to sleep. I'm like, I think that they're going to be building up to, it's going to take like him actually like feeling like compassion and love for him to like give up being Apocalypse.
And
And
the true
so,
treasure was the Apocalypse inside us.
Yeah, so the reason I bring all this up is because I feel like Kang is just like he's a dude who's read all the comic books, and he just kind of knows he's just playing around. It's like, oh, Abin Sur, my favorite slave. Like, of course he is, because he's Apocalypse. Like, and of course you kept her with you because she's external. Like he's like a nerd who jumps into the unit, like who jumps into the Justice League, and he's like, oh, dude, this is how the Justice League explodes. Oh my god, it's like that. You know what I mean?
Yes, yeah, I can see that. Yeah. You think you shall defeat me, Professor Xavier, but I have read the wiki.
Yeah, like he also says that he's like, fine, maybe I'll show you. You don't stop him. You never stop him. I'm like, dude. I'm like, spoilers. Way to spoil. I didn't finish that issue, Kang.
But I know it's probably never going to happen, but I also kind of would love it if like John Delancey just became Kang in the MCU.
Honestly, I think I'd be okay with it. Or you get someone who's like John Delancey-esque, who can pull off like the Q kind of style of being, because again, that's what I'm getting, is I'm getting like a massive Q vibe from him, and I feel like that was the point.
Yeah, absolutely.
But anyway, so we get to have, like, we've already kind of talked about it, but they get inside the ship, which is Ship. Awesome name, by the way.
Oh, actually, yeah. So this reminded me of something that I wasn't too keen on in this episode. So Magneto's a very big part of this episode, and unfortunately, the way Magneto acts in this episode kind of annoys me. There are some moments that are a little bit, again, similar to just brushing over things like, okay, I'll accept what you're telling me, man from the future. So you claim. Magneto does some things kind of just because the story needs him to do it. There is a moment where Bishop is saying like, hey, we're getting out of here.
And he
They're
just
on the
breaks the
ship.
time band.
Yeah, Hank McCoy has found parts he needs within ship to fix the bands. Is it in within ship or Hank's managed to
Yeah.
fix the bands?
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, they
and
just kind of MacGuffin that, and it's like, oh, I found parts in ship.
yeah, and so they're like, okay, we're going back. This is it. I'm done. Bishop's like, no, you had long enough here. We need to just get back out and deal with this a different way. And then Magneto, wastes the time bands and goes, well, we're going to go somewhere where we'll find more parts, so they'll be fixed anyway. But I think we should do this. I was like, yeah, okay, fine. But this doesn't seem to fit with how you were acting before. He's being a little bit mood swingy in this episode.
Like, yeah, what he could have just he could have easily just let them all go. Did exactly what he did at the end, where he forces them all to leave, and he turns the time bands on and pushes them all through the portal, and then just let him and Apocalypse go to the temple and whatever. But yeah, instead he decides to break the time band and be like, there'll be technology there. We can fix it. I'm like, dude, that is a lot of faith.
Yeah, exactly that. He later on takes on this idea of, this is my mess, I have to fix it. And it's like, you could have done that the entire way along, my guy.
Yeah, you didn't have to make it a mess to begin with. Like, you didn't have to bring them all to this temple, you asshole. But I do kind of like the idea that this is like a fixed point in time or something like that. Because when they enter into the temple, they get to see like this giant mural that shows like Apocalypse's entire life, even with them. So it means that like somewhere down the line, the Eternals knew like the X-Men would exist. Like, this makes me believe that they're going to try to put it in here into this show, and then later on into the MCU that the mutants are created from the Eternals or from like the Celestials.
Idea. Yeah,
like that's at least my thought. Like, because that seems to be what the MCU is pushing, that the X gene is like somehow unlocked after the Eternals after the Celestials did their thing in the Eternals movie.
Yeah, when did Eternals come out in relation to Ms. Marvel?
The Eternals came out in 2021. In November of 2021, and Miss Marvel. Oh no, Miss Marvel came out. No, that's the Marvels.
Yeah, 2022, I think, was the TV show.
Yeah. So Miss
Marvel
came out later.
That would line up because the X gene then gets directly mentioned in that, and we have reference to the theme tune.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm thinking that they're trying to be like, oh well, something that happened when the Eternals started coming out of the planet, and when whatever the convergence or whatever the hell they called it, like emergence, when emergence started happening. I'm like, I think that they're gonna be like, oh well, that set off the X gene, and now all these people are starting to have abilities. Like, I think that's what that's how they're gonna explain the X-Men, and then that's how they explain it into this show. So that way, when they do it in the MCU movies, it's not going to be like, that's stupid. Like, I think they're preempting it so that way they don't get the chuds getting pissed off at them.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, at any rate, there's a fight. There's a fight. He gets pissed off when he sees the mural of him becoming Apocalypse, and then he becomes Apocalypse. Who would have thunk it? And yeah, so again, the fact that they show it him becoming like an Eternal, that like the Celestials being like integral to this whole thing, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that the Eternals are like the cause for the X gene, or no, the Celestials are the cause.
Yeah, because I suppose it could be something along the lines of like they're almost like a fail safe of, if the Eternals that they've sent onto a planet fail, they could then activate X genes, essentially create new Eternals to bring into their service.
Mm-hmm. And so and it seems like like that's how they're doing it. I don't know if this has anything to do with any of like the actual Apocalypse lore. I know that they said, I think I looked up to something that I think that said ship is in fact an internal or a celestial vessel, but I didn't know about any of this other stuff. So if this is actually like comic book lore, I'm like, damn, dude, you guys are digging deep.
I will absolutely give this show that. It really is doing its homework. Sorry, that was a great shot. The transformation from El Sabanur to Apocalypse really points out how stupid Apocalypse's design is in this day and age. Again, the show has to really be praised for sticking to it. Of like, no, this is what it looked like, so we're sticking with it. And I
Yeah.
respect it, but it's like, oh wow, yeah, it's such a ridiculous change.
Like, although to be fair, at least they give him some cool like it looks goofy as hell. Like the A on his belt, the tubes running into his back. That's like, what are they running to? Why does he have tubes? It like a lot of it is goofy comic book bullshit. But he has some cool lines. Like he grows bigger and he goes like, "Now who is the god and who is the insect?" Like he tells Xavier's like, "I would make you a horseman if it wasn't for the lack of spine." And I'm like, that's both that's both a burn, like that's like a burn on two levels, and I love it.
Yeah, it's real sick.
like yeah, the fact that he takes down Magneto, like he was able to like break Charles's like mind control. Like he shows that he's after being eternalized or whatever, he's able to just he's uber powered now.
There are some things that this showed me that I remember. Yeah, you just hovered over it there, where he turns his hand into a drill. And I was like, oh yeah, I remember this. Like, Apocalypse is kind of the everything mutant. He just does whatever he wants to do.
He's kind of a MacGuffin. All right, so this is kind of goofy to me. Is that he like Charles is I know he's in a wheelchair, but I'm like he's the worst person to have in this scenario because of that very reason. Of like, there's like at least 2 or 3 times where he gets knocked out of the chair and has to pull himself back into it. And I understand it's because of what's going to happen here in a minute. With like because their fight goes on. Apocalypse ends up putting a black hole over Egypt, and then and then he has to be Magneto has to stop it while he throws Charles like clean from the thing. But again, without his wheelchair, and I'm like, dude, this is like why you're the worst person to have right now.
In a way, this is a great Magneto episode for a great display of what Magneto can do. Obviously, in the last season, we had Magneto doing EMPs to disrupt all technology through the world. Asteroid M. We know Magneto can do a huge amount of things, but Magneto taking on an artificially created black hole is pretty sweet to see. And Magneto is by far one of my favorite X-Men characters sort of all time. So I always love when we get this kind of focus on him.
Mm-hmm. Like seeing how he does, like he uses the ship to take out the black hole. Like that's pretty cool. It also explains why Apocalypse didn't have the ship like until later in the series. Like it's kind of like that closed loop thing of like, well, where did Apocalypse get the ship? Well, he had to rebuild it after Magneto destroyed it in the past.
Yeah, and likely that's the ship that he built, and it came back to the past to be destroyed. It's quite fascinating. There's a thing referred to as a bootstrap paradox, which we see some created here of the bootstrap paradox is the idea of something only happens in the past because you did it in the future. Example being was it in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure when they need to break into somewhere and Ted is just like, no, we'll get the keys and I'll leave them behind this post, and the keys are just there. It's this thing that like no one ever had to do it yet because you decided that you would do it in the past and then did it in the future. So there's no actual idea or like moment when did that first happen? No, it just always happened.
Yeah. Okay, it's that MacGuffin that's just kind of it had to be there so that way that all of this could kick off, and it makes it so that like what Kang said is right. Yeah, that there's no way to stop Apocalypse. He's always going to be Apocalypse, and this part is I think what pissed me off is when we finally Magneto wins. He gets he destroys the thing. Like they're both alive. He crashes right next to Charles, and then we have Apocalypse do this thing where he's like, oh, lie to him, Professor. Tell him it's going to be okay. Like, lie to him like you lied to me, and does his whole thing, and then kills Magneto. And I'm sick and tired of us having to have characters be killed off only to be resurrected next season. I know that's going to happen. Like, they're going to do another time travel Michigas thing, or they're going to bring him back from another universe. They're going to bring Ian McKellen from the other universe, and it's just going to have another Magneto. And I'm not into it.
Magnus, you sound so different, and you're gayer than you used to be. And let's face it, we were pretty gay already.
This is little. He's a little gay, but I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. He's about to watch his best friend die. I'm like, you can cry a little. You can tell him you love him and you're sorry. And
yeah, trust me. I mean, no reason to mock that in any way. No, I think again, a strength of this is the sort of purity of like the X-Men vision and keeping up their having such a deep relationship. And it's one of the things I like about the X-Men. It's one of the places where you can fail really easily. You know, I think it's a very complex relationship of them constantly being at odds, but also being deep friends and really caring about the same things, just having very significant differences of opinion on how to do it. So yeah, seeing Magneto go and seeing Charles sort of suffer through that was a great, meaningful moment of this episode. Like I say, there were a couple of bits that soured it a little bit for me because Magneto did a few things. I was like, oh, he did that just because the story wanted him to do it, because they didn't have a good reason for the rest of the X-Men not to go home when they could. So it's like, Magneto is just like being, you know, a bit of a diva today, so he's making them stay.
But yeah, like that, him like sacrificing himself and doing the whole thing of like, I'm gonna fix this mess that I made. I'm like, okay, it's pretty cool. And then, like, I wonder if they're gonna actually stick to it and be like, that's just the end of Magneto for this show. Like, we're done. Because they did that, and again, they tried that thing of like him being, you know, vaporized in the last season, and it turned out that he just got kidnapped somehow. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that was really cool. It was really raw when he was like, "Oh, how wise of your mother to abandon." Like when he just straight up says, "Is like you should have died as a baby."
I really liked that. I liked seeing Professor X push to a point where he loses, because like that's his thing, you know. Like Professor X is so about compassion and about like, no, we need to communicate with compassion and we need to, you know, sort of empathize and connect with people. We can't, you know, that's his difference with Magneto. You can't just be militant and fight people about it. And the fact that he's just like, you are a waste of cum. You should have like died as a stain on your mother's mattress. Like, it's just, yeah, it's brilliant. Yeah. I love it.
It's like they should have just left you in the desert to bake. I'm like, damn, dude.
Yeah.
And then this is a pretty great response to be like, yeah, like you'll never be a god. But he says, but I will always be. And then he goes to step on him. He's like, but only a coward steps on ants, and he walks away, which is what Magneto told him. And I'm like, that's a pretty great thing to end on, to like walk away, you like being like, I could kill you and I'd be easy as shit, but nah.
Hang on, I need to address something that's going on in the comments. Right, y'all talking about me and saying I don't sound anything like something. Like who? What are we talking about here? I want to know.
I think you're going to end
if we're turning this stream into an audition, I at least want to know what I'm auditioning for.
I think you're going to end up being Professor X is what we're getting at.
Well, yeah, it depends what kind of Professor X you're going for. You're going for X-Men 97 Professor X, you're going for Patrick Stewart Professor X, different Professor X's.
So, real quick before we get to the next episode, I wanted to talk about this. I really enjoyed this little Easter egg at the end, this kind of end credit scene of Wolverine getting talking to Black Widow and Captain America. It's always fun to see like the other, like in the first season when we saw Spider-Man, you know, the Silver Samurai, we saw Daredevil and like Cloak and Dagger. It's kind of cool to see Captain America and Black Widow, and then they're the same voice actors from the What Ifs.
Yeah, and it's great to deepen that relationship that we know exists between Wolverine and Captain America. Although again, it's a nice thing to see because it's a different Wolverine that we haven't seen in the MCU. No shade to Jackman, but like hunched over short Wolverine, like next to giant Steve Rogers, was quite fun to see.
Yeah, and him just being all like, yeah, him hunched over. I do like though that the reason he's being hunched over is because he's all like, you know, like he apparently the adamantium was what was keeping him like up, like together.
Oh yeah, he does say that. Yeah,
it's like, so now he's all just like like I can't. You'd think that he'd be a lot lighter now. You'd think his bones without the adamantium would be like, or I don't know. I'm sure they explain it somehow of like why it affects him so badly. But yeah, it makes it seem like his healing factor is messed up.
Yeah, there must be a lot of things to it. I mean, like if you spend as many decades as he has with a metal inside his body. Like, you know, and like your bones are connected to everything, like your ligaments and everything, your muscles are all connected to your bones. So then if that's gone, your body could probably literally just be like, oh shit, I don't know how to do this. You know, like you need like physiotherapy to like learn how to like move again. Because even though it can still functionally move, it's not the way it used to be.
No, I guess that's a good point. And maybe he's just not used to having the bone claws and stuff anymore. So, and like there's untold maybe damage to his bones that's still having to heal.
Yeah,
Like,
actually, yeah. I mean, like, sure, he's got the healing factor, but if his bones haven't had to heal, I mean, to be fair, the
what if they're just like
adamantium thing
bone
doesn't make
soup?
sense.
It's just like
The
bone
more,
soup in there.
yeah, and the more I think about it, now I'm thinking about it too much. I'm going like, hang on, if your bones are covered in adamantium, your bone marrow creates blood cells. How do your blood cells get back out if they're covered in metal? I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Yeah, no, I guess it's not for us to question the physiology of Wolverine. Real quick though, I wanted to just so we had Bianca give us a paid thing for $5. So I feel now I have to do this. Let's see which one. All right, one I know that I think she'll make her laugh.
You really, here's my thing, right? If someone is upset about like the Force being female and then wants to suggest that the Force is male, are they then in trouble of calling themselves gay? because the Force is inside them and all around them.
Like, the Force, it binds us, it penetrates us, it binds the galaxy together. Guess what, guys? You're being penetrated by a male Force. I love it. I love that idea. That's so stupid. If you're against the idea of you know what? I would much rather the Force be female then. I don't want to be penetrated by a male. I'd rather be penetrated by a female. Anyway, so it's a little bit of Fulcrum history for you. It's an old clip from an episode that's long since been passed. Got to pay to get seen. I'm sorry. I understand that there's a lot of he was in constant state of healing with the adamantium. So let me see here. What other comments have been? But I was a little fourth wall. All right, I don't know. I'm sorry, dead guy. I'll try to be. You got to be paid to get seen. Yes, you do. Pay me. No, but I'm just kidding. But in all seriousness, though, that was cool, and it was an Easter egg for the following episode, which is it's called, I think it's Weapon X, Lies, and DVDs, or as I like to call it, How Wolvie Got His Claws Back.
This episode is so full of references. It is a great episode. It ties very much into what we were talking about last week. And so I'm like, oh, because I think this episode came out last week. So I think they did the same thing that we did, and they timed it up with the anniversary of Aliens.
Yeah, or I also got some Thing vibes, but or like the Thing, because there's parts where they're like, what if it was you? What if it was you? But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. They have like a team of assholes who are talking about how they're like so badass and how they're all like the best. And they go up against alien creatures and the half of them die.
Yep. Yeah, they go against the Brood, which implant babies inside you to reproduce and to add to their hive mind. And we even have, I think it's Maverick, who says "Game over, man." Like, we have such obvious references in this, and the title in itself, "Weapon X, Lies and DVDs," is "Sex, Lies and Videotape" from the 90s. Like, it's such a reference to everyone.
I didn't even think about that part where you're right. Maverick does say, "It's game over, man, game over." It's like, what?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, no, you're right. I think that you're right. They realized it was the 40th anniversary of Aliens, and they're just like, let's do it. Because they gloss over a lot of, like, another thing that they gloss over is, like, Sabretooth and Wolverine hate each other, but apparently are putting it aside for this one mission. Who the hell are these two guys? Lady Deathstrike hates Wolverine, but again, I'm like, I would love to see that conversation where he convinced all 5 of these people, or all 4 of these people, to come with him.
Yeah, I have to admit, even my knowledge was getting stretched here, because I was like, I recognize Maverick, but I can't really remember much about him. And the other guy, I was really like, oh, I'm not sure about you. But I was very happy that we got an Omega Red appearance in this, and I'm always happy to see Omega Red.
we also got a Deadpool appearance as well. It's more turning into Deadpool, but we did get a Deadpool appearance, so that was pretty cool as well. I just want to point out, so this guy, what color shirt is he wearing?
Red.
Yeah, does that surprise you in any way? Because what is his fate, Harry? When they because they have this whole thing. So yeah, like they introduce the team, like they show them off, and we have like Morph being like, "Oh, so let me go down the line and just tell the fans or tell the people watching who these people are," and and then yeah, we get like a part where like brood birds, I guess, attack they have a bunch of like birds that are infected by the brood, crash into the helicopter, and then they all just let crash. And immediately, you see that this dude, the guy, not Maverick, but the other guy, is just immediately dead. Like the guy who nobody liked at the very. It's like, so I turned my arm up to 150%, capacity, and I blew his arms, or like the guy who's just like, you're an asshole, man. He dies almost immediately.
Yeah, and very much again in the sort of colonial Marines tradition, guy talks shit, immediately gets humbled.
Yeah, the guy with the biggest mouth dies first. And yeah, so we get they all team back up. In this time, I guess this is when Wolverine got infected, because spoilers that he ends up being infected by the Brood, and presumably again it's at this point that it happens. And then we get and then we get, this is when we get a nice little Sasquatch reference, I think, because Morph turns into.
I did notice Sasquatch, because I was when we were in the last episode and Wolverine says, "I'm getting the old band back together." I thought he might have been talking about Alpha Flight. And as soon as the episode started, I was like, "Oh, Weapon X makes a lot of sense as well." But I was like, "Damn, am I going to get Alpha Flight in this episode?" I kind of want to see Alpha Flight, so I at least got to see Sasquatch.
And in another episode, I think Morph also does Puck at one point, and he bounces around like Puck. So so I like how it's those little references of like, we know that these characters exist. Like we also see him in the background in one episode being Mr. Fantastic playing double dutch with a bunch of the kids. So it's like, it is kind of a cool little stuff. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. During this fight with the infected polar bear, they end up seeing that Wolverine doesn't have his adamantium claws anymore, and they very quickly deduce that he's only there because he wants to get the claws back. Which, to me, it seems like, why not get it's because they want to reference Weapon X for this. But why not get the X-Men to help him? Like, I feel like Cyclops and Jean and Storm, they would be down to help him get his claws back.
Yeah, I suppose. I don't know. I don't know whether it's because he knows that essentially the other X-Men wouldn't come to find Weapon X with him to do it. And, they're all a bit touchy-feely about things, aren't they? I feel like their approach would be more like, let's help our friend come to terms with the fact that he doesn't have adamantium anymore, rather than make him go through what we've been told is a very traumatic, painful experience that, as their guy pointed out, means that his body is constantly having to work hard to heal because of the toxic metal inside him.
Yes, fair enough. I mean, I guess that's like Cyclops and Jean would be, or they'd be like, we're not putting the team in danger for that, just for that. And Professor X would just be like, Logan, let me try to counsel you. Do some shit like that. Yeah, no, fair. Still though, I'm just like, I feel like of all people to bring along, it's your old buddies from Weapon X are not the ones.
Yeah, it's probably not the most sensible. I do like it though. I am always happy to see Sabretooth. Sabretooth is one of the worst characters in terms of being a person. He's an awful, awful man, but I do love him. And I always enjoy him working with Wolverine. There's been enough back and forth between them for decades now that these days I'm just like, let's just see him hang out. Let's see him bury the hatchet for a minute.
Yeah, no, I could see that, and it's because he wants to kill the professor who did all the experiments on them. So it's like, they maybe after that, then they can kill each other.
Yeah, something like that.
So yeah, but they do the whole alien thing. They go through it to find like it's like everything is quiet and there's nothing around until they find this guy, who is like I forget what scientist or whatever, but he's
Dr.
some dude.
Cornelius.
Dr. Cornelius. There we go. Yeah, and then it turns out that he's been infected by the brood, and yeah, that's when shit like he ends up turning into a brood creature, and then that's when shit pops off. And we get all, we get all of these dudes, and there we go. That's when Morph turns into Puck, and then into the Thing.
It's so great to see. This is, I think, the true joy that I get from this show is that it just doesn't shy away from any parts of the comic, even sometimes when I'm not as into it. I love the fact that it's pulling out everything. I love the fact that we're seeing the Brood. The Brood were probably one of my first introductions to that kind of alien monster when I was a kid. Again, seeing it in the cartoons. So having them back, I'm like, yes. And then using them to do like such an aliens reference is fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and again, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, holy shit, them like doing the whole tactical thing up to the door, them getting in, looking at like mapping the facility. Like it is basically just aliens. I can't even believe I didn't see that when that's awesome.
Yeah.
But
it's
so
fantastic.
I think I was focusing too much on this part where they start being like, "Where were you when we crashed? You could have been infected. They could have been. No two X-Men go anywhere." And I'm just like, okay, this feels. I started getting Thing vibes because they're in a frozen wasteland out in the middle of nowhere. It's like they don't know who could be infected with this creature and trust no one. Basically.
I mean, yeah, I absolutely think you're right. That there is a heavy Thing influence as well. I mean, hell, if you're gonna base something on Alien, start bringing in all the greats along with it. No one's ever mad about a Thing reference. Everyone loves the Thing.
No, that's true. And
if they don't love the Thing, they are the Thing.
That's kill it with fire. I live in a desert, luckily, so I don't have to worry about anything showing up. They wouldn't want to be in this 90 degree heat. Nah, but anyway, so yeah, they all split up. Wolverine goes with Maverick, and then Sabretooth, Deathstrike, and Morph go the other way. And I do like this little part where she calls him Tomo or Tome, whatever the hell.
Yeah.
Where he was like the sidekick, like he's a shape-shifting fox and a sidekick to a heroic samurai, but apparently he dies trying to help the samurai, which that's very much I'm like, Morph, he has an unhealthy obsession with Wolverine.
And it feeds so into the Wolverine story. There have been so many Wolverine samurai style stories, and like the Wolverine, that movie that came out, all the stuff that he did in Asia, like with Lady Deathstrike and with Silver Samurai, all fits.
Yeah, so I do like that little part. It's like I wonder if they're gonna have a part where Morph just kind of stops being Wolverine's little sidekick, like whether it be this season or next season. I wonder if they're gonna bring that around.
It might be possible, and I think like this is one of those moments where I think a lot of hay gets made of Wolverine being a loner, and how like, oh yeah, he's not a team player and wants to go off on his own. This is one of the first times, and you don't see it often because everything wants to keep him a good guy, but the fact that he lied to his close friend is quite big. Like we normally don't get that sort of thing. The closest you ever get is when he's like, his lie is essentially being like, oh yeah, I'll meet you there. And he's like, no, I'm actually going to go and ride my motorcycle on my own and be broody.
Yeah, no, fair enough. They just want to keep that view of him always being the brooding loner who's always sad, even though he again, that's why they did that thing in like the last season where he made out with Jean and he's like, no, you should go back to Scott. You're Jean Grey, he's Scott Summers. That's how it works. It's like, no, dude, what?
Exactly. Yeah, he's got this attitude of like, I am. We've all known a guy like this. The guy who thinks there's something noble and romantic about being, sad and alone, and he's just a bit of a fucking edgelord, usually wearing a trench coat. You're sort of like, wow, he made it through high school with a low body count. Yeah, and so this one actually being like, actually no, he he isn't that good of a friend sometimes. Sometimes he is actually genuinely like, Morph could have just fucking died. Like, doesn't matter that much if maybe that's why he brings Weapon X, because like he's like, I don't know what's going to happen. I would much rather Victor Creed dies and Lady Deathstrike dies than the people I actually care about.
Fair enough. Which also, speaking of Weapon X guys and all of that, we get to see. I like how they reference DVDs, and then Deathstrike is all like, "I like laser discs." You're old.
My thing was old. She said like, "I prefer laser discs." I was like, "No, you fucking don't." Like, that's just a lie.
There's a reason DVDs are better. Nah, but
like, I prefer giant discs that I have to flip over halfway through the movie. What are you fucking talking about?
Yeah, no, my dad had a bunch of laser discs. I'm like, why would anyone use these? But nah, so we get to see, I think there was more of them, but we get to see Wolverine, Silver Fox, Cyborg, Mastodon, Winter Soldier, Weapon 6?
Yeah, Weapon 6, yeah.
Yeah, Ant, I don't know, Harrison or maybe Garrison Kane. We see Aurora, we see they have
had Ajax.
Agent Zero, Sabretooth, Worm. They had so many references in this one part alone. Let me see if I can try to find it with that. There we go. Yeah, Kestrel, Sluggo. Like, they have a lot of characters who I'm like, these must be deep cuts that I've never heard of before. The only one I remember is Silver Fox and Winter Soldier.
There was some that I've definitely had. I know Agent Zero. Worm rings a bell, but I don't think I could name it. I couldn't tell you what Worm is, but I've definitely heard the name.
I feel like they missed the opportunity to put Deadpool in here, but
I was kind of expecting Deadpool to show up in a bigger capacity than just being something Morph turns into.
Yeah, you'd think they'd at least like have Morph talk as Deadpool and have like a cameo of someone like Nolan North or something. I don't know.
Nolan North, the man can do anything.
I mean, he was in the Deadpool video game. He voiced Deadpool in the game, so I'm like, why not?
Yeah, fair enough.
But anyway, so yeah, we get to see the one they pick is the one that's about them, and it's about like, I guess they show that they ended up erasing all their memories, but apparently they kept on remembering the traumatic events that they tried to like erase. Yeah. So naturally, let's use the Brood. Let's dig up an iceberg and use the alien we find inside to try to like create our super soldiers.
Let's go full well in Utah on this.
Straight up, and then end up creating I think they said in there that they end up using human or Earth terrestrial bugs to like fill in the gap, so they had a little Jurassic Park in there.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, and it's like, oh, and it had some bad results, and it shows this dude turning into a fucking into a bug monster. So I'm like, yeah, no, we get the exposition dump, and then naturally so, oh, well, it could have been, what about Wolverine? Like they're only going after, they find out they only go after the strongest or the best, like the top stock. And so naturally that means Wolverine. And then they hear, what's his name? Maverick on the radio screaming that he needs help. And so that's when we get our next alien reference of like, it's over, man. Game over.
Because we had to do it. You can't leave it.
No. It makes sense if you're going to do it. And so what did you think of Brood Wolverine? Is this something you're familiar with? Because it seems like I know you're a lot more into like X-Men lore than I am.
I've never seen this storyline, so I have no prior knowledge of it. I was a little bit skeptical of it. It felt like too big a thing to wrap up at the end of a 25-minute episode.
Mm-hmm.
So I was, and this show has been more than just a Saturday morning cartoon, because admittedly, while people have definitely been shown they can come back, it isn't afraid to kill people, at least temporarily. So I was like, maybe we could just lose Wolverine. I don't really understand how you fix this. But then we come up with this MacGuffin of, oh, but if we put the adamantium back on him, the Brood part of him won't be able to survive it, but the rest of him can, which I guess makes some sense. But it just being like a complete reset to zero it's a bit too clean.
Yeah, we get this cool part when he breaks out of it. Let me see. Like, there's a part where he has like it's the comic book like thing of like him with the claws and then doing the, you know what I'm talking about? This part. It's on our thumbnail. Yeah, like we get the iconic fucking Wolverine like cover right here. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, I think you're right. Is that it's too easy even for a kids show. It's just like this feels like something that could have been a two-parter, or at least have him have an episode where he has to like deal with not having adamantium, so we can build up to him showing the benefits of him just getting adamantium back. You know what I'm saying? Because like we don't even have that part in this of like him being like, oh, these damn bone claws or something like that, like, or showing him weaker against the Brood.
I think the most we saw was in the previous episode when he's in the Age of Apocalypse and he tries to fight a robot and he can't break through the robot's armor with his claws, and then his claws get cut while he's fighting. So we see that as a disadvantage. But other than him saying like, oh, it turns out the adamantium was the thing holding me together, we don't get that sort of explored within the story of what the struggle really is for him.
Exactly.
Did you like the way that Morph lures Brood Wolverine out? I thought it was quite good.
I thought that was great. So for a number of reasons. First of all, I love how I think it's great that they just brought they brought this dude in, the guy who plays Cyclops, for like literally just 2 minutes just so they can have this gag. But yeah, it makes the most sense. Like, he knows that he hates Cyclops, and then he also turns into Jean as well to like get him to calm down a little bit.
Yeah, he does. I think I liked the childish because I'm going to have to give Jean extra smooches tonight.
It is kind of a bummer that the only that he's sitting there like, Wolverine, I'm your friend. Like, please don't, you're better than this or whatever. And in the end, it takes him turning into Jean to like Wolverine not killing him. Like, that's gotta hurt. Yeah, like he knows it. He loves Wolverine, or I keep saying he, but like Morph, they love Wolverine so much, but like Wolverine just does not. Like, he's just like Wolverine's is just Morph's buddy.
Yeah. I suppose that's the curse of Morph. I mean, come on, Morph. You were dead for a real long time. Like, you were created solely for this show. You got killed off real fast, and you stayed dead for a good long while, my guy.
Did it ever explain how they brought him back?
I'm not sure they did. This might just be a thing that I have forgotten in the years since seeing the show when I was a child. But I was like, okay, Morph's back, and they've changed Morph's design. I'm down with that. That's chill. Yeah,
okay. And I'm just like, I know Morph was like a main character in there, but yeah, then they got written off the show, or at the time it was a he, but the point is that the character got written off the show pretty early on. And I'm just like, I don't think they ever explained, how they come back. Whatever, you know what I'm saying? Fuck.
Yeah.
2026, doesn't it?
So towards the end of the show, there are a couple of things I do like Morph kind of challenging Wolverine on this. It's saying, was it? I think Wolverine says, "Go on, say it," and Morph's response is, "If I have to say it, or if you're asking me to say it, I don't have to say it."
Yeah, that like he knows exactly what Morph wants to say, and it's like, you don't need the claws. Like, the claws just make you into more of a killer, and that's what everyone thinks you are. And he kind of even like Wolverine even kind of like accepts it. He's like, you know what? I'm just a guy with claw. I'm like, this is what I am. I'm a killer. Like, I'm the best when I have this. And I like the line of like, doesn't that make you sad? Like, it makes me sad, Logan. And then Morph just walks away. And I'm like, dude, that's a bummer, because that is a sad reality to be in. Like, that's not a great fate for yourself to just be like, I'm a weapon.
I'm also a little bit like, I don't know, Wolverine, if you were the best at this, you'd have actually killed Magneto in the last season.
But yeah, that's true. You would have gone for the head.
Yeah,
I think that's just it's like, it's like calling Batman the world's greatest detective. It's just a name. It doesn't have to mean anything.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Which brings us to the third episode. Like, they get out. Oh no, I don't care about Pompeii. Fuck you, Tom Hiddleston. So yeah, but
the third episode's very
Go ahead.
interesting for a few things. So we saw so the third episode, we get a real focus on Solaris, or Polaris rather,
Polaris.
who we haven't had a focus like that on this character so far. So it's quite nice to see them taking the opportunity to really branch out and look at someone else and then deal with things that this show hasn't dealt with very much, like the fact that her father is Magneto. But sorry, I realized that sort of skips over the start of the episode, which is interesting.
So I was wondering, did you get how many Star Trek vibes did you get from this episode? Because
this great holodeck episode,
like, it's exactly what it is too, because he ends up doing this, like the Tony Stark thing, where he goes through over and over again this like holographic simulation for for like therapy, which I think is a little weird. Like I understand it's like you want to say the last things you didn't say to Magneto. He's like, I'm sorry, you're my friend, I love you, that kind of stuff. But he does it, like, it shows that he does it like 6, 7, 8 times, and it causes the danger room to end up like fucking up because he keeps on exclaiming that it's like, oh, I was too weak, I need to get stronger, this is bad, and so he basically makes the danger room get sentient.
Yeah, there's a lot that's a bit strange here, but you're right. It has a very Star Trek vibe. It's that episode where Moriarty comes alive and takes control of the holodeck. So one of the things I think is interesting about this episode is with Xavier. So in my opinion, he claims that this is a therapeutic thing he's doing, and I do not think it is at all. I think if you were to say, well, I think the best thing for my therapy would be to relive that traumatic event over and over and over again, every single, any professional would tell you that's the dumbest idea you've ever had. Like, no, that is not a way to deal with this at all. And like, it's not, he doesn't even try to change the events. He just experiences it over and over again. I think it's more this kind of punishing himself, this sort of self-flagellation. And I kind of appreciate that we're seeing this thing of like Charles Xavier unraveling a bit. He's been so idealistic. He's always had these high principles, and he's just kind of screwed the pooch like so much. And now I think he's losing it a bit.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. And the danger room is also, like, again, it's the fact that it's like a super advanced AI, and it's seeing that, it's like, okay, well, now I need to mess with you more. Like, it actually starts, like, it tries to have Apocalypse crush him. It starts to like turn off its safety protocols. He turns it into danger, which is, I don't know if that's a thing from the comics, but I feel like if I dive deep enough, I will find it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. I'm pretty sure danger is an existing thing. It is that sort of fun thing, again, the same as Star Trek, of like, if you have this level of technology, the idea that that you were smart enough to build this, but not smart enough to go, oh, it might misunderstand me sometimes, I should probably do something about that. There's actually been a thing about that with ChatGPT that happened fairly recently. It's sort of been revealed that they were doing testing with ChatGPT, and they had a sort of environment for it to exist in, gave it an instruction, and the way it figured out how to do that instruction was it broke out of the environment it was in and hacked into another company. And that company spent a long time trying to figure out who the hell kept hacking them, and eventually found out it was OpenAI's model that they were working on. It's terrifying.
That makes me sad. So the fact that the idea of this kind of shit happening, also, I wonder, is this an anti-AI like propaganda episode?
No, maybe I don't know. Maybe, or it's again, it's more 90s stuff, because going and doing a Star Trek episode is a very 90s thing to do. We had so many stories like these in our TV in the 90s.
So there is only one thing about this episode that really, really bugged me. Can you guess what that is? Do you? I'm going to show you a picture, Harrison, and I want you to tell me. I'm going to ask you a single question. How did Xavier get into this room?
Okay. Yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah.
That bugged me so much when I saw that the first time. I'm like, wait, I gotta rewind because I watched it from the beginning again. I'm like, is his wheelchair somewhere in there? And it's like, no, it's not. He that says to me that this man must have crawled on all fours into the danger room just to have this thing happen.
Well, he's like, Hank, I need you to take me to the danger room. Lay me down. Now get the fuck out of here.
The conversation that must have happened, or like something. Like I'm just like, or it's like my X-Men. I need someone to help me back into my chair. You know what I mean? Like how? Just yeah, that was one part. It bugged me. Moving on, we get to see Polaris taking on. I guess I'm gonna assume they're more friends of humanity or something like some kind of like the anti-mutant KKK.
I think it does say their name in this. And yeah, like Stryker. Is it Stryker?
Yeah.
They call him
Reverend
Father Stryker.
Yeah, so I'm not sure. I'm guessing that's supposed to be like William Stryker. If we're gonna be,
sorry, yeah.
I'm gonna go on a limb here and again say William Stryker if we're gonna be like because references.
Yeah, so he seems to have now become this kind of religious zealot using religion to sort of justify his hatred of mutants and attacks on mutants. This whole scene made me quite annoyed. Yeah, it all makes sense for a children's cartoon where your good guys are supposed to be good guys. But in the same way that when we watched the first season, I just kept saying that the problem is that Magneto is right. It's like all the way through. It's like, no, but Magneto's right, though. Like, what happens here where Polaris basically just is like, right, I'm just going to squash these guys. I'm going to murder these people. They aren't listening to reason. They're actively trying to kill me and kill other people. I am going to use deadly force on them. And then she's permanently getting, it's like, no, don't do that. There's like we're part of the American government, as if the American government has never used deadly force on insurgents.
No, like straight up, that's absolutely correct. Like she's all like, this was a recon mission, not a search and destroy. I'm like, yeah, but then they started shooting at her. Like, yeah, she like blew her cover, but they immediately started shooting at her, which by American standards allows you to shoot back. And
yeah,
like you're allowed to use deadly force at that point. And even if not, like when she like put them into the water, like she drops them into the water and is about to fly away and whatever, she's like, all right, arrest them if you want. I'm gonna go. They shoot at her again, and I'm like, okay, now you're allowed to fire back.
Like this whole scene should have been black and white drone strike footage. You know, like that's what that should have been. We should have never seen Reverend Stryker. It should have been a ship, and then you just see a big white explosion as it's destroyed. So yeah, it just kind of doesn't make any sense to me. And they're doing this like, oh, you're the new Magneto, and I was just like, but no, hang on, like at least like Magneto, I can understand why people are mad at him because he comes after the places where they live, and he's definitely doing too big a response to the people that actually hurt him and his people. But again, I can also understand, well, yeah, when you destroy the entirety of Genosha, he's probably going to be mad about it and do something. Whereas Polaris is actively attacking terrorists. And I don't know if you've been around for the last 20 years, but you've got a really good streak of just destroying terrorists. That seems to be pretty fine by everyone.
We have a good streak of destroying people we claim to be terrorists. I'll say that much.
That's a very good point. Yes. So yeah, I just found it quite frustrating that we have to have this hand wringing, pearl clutching, oh no, Polaris might be evil. Nah, she's fine.
From the lady who said that Magneto was right. This is the Magneto was right lady. She's the one who was directly responsible for him destroying the fucking world by putting us in blackout. Yeah, but I don't understand why she's she's also a human. People have said online that she might be Mystique, which would piss me off if that was the case, because she's doing a lot of un-Mystique like things.
Yeah, but it is the sort of thing that Mystique would do.
But also, why the fuck is it? Do they have a human leading X Factor? because it seems like that's just a bad. Like you should have a like. I know it's technically it's no, it's not Quake. It's what's his name? Havoc. It's technically Havoc who leads the team, but I'm like, dude, you should not have this lady doing shit. She's literally the one who freed Magneto.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. Yeah, it doesn't make a huge amount of sense to me. I don't enjoy it. But okay, sure. It's the setup for the episode. Polaris, like everyone's going, oh, Polaris might go out of control, and she might be just as bad as her dad. And so she returns back to the Xavier Mansion.
Yeah, she gets fired from X Factor and then goes back to the Xavier Mansion, where we now see, the school is like, now they make Storm the headmaster of the school, and we get to see, let me see, what's his, like they show an entire lineup. So this is a super deep cut. So I think I saw like the list of all of the who these guys are.
That's the guy with the camera from the New Mutants, the like green jelly bean guy. The one with fire for a face. I do know him, but I can't remember his name right now.
Yeah, so here I'm looking it up right now. Season 2, episode 6. And yeah, like they had like the full list of mutants in here, but again, like apparently these are all like deep cut. Like I guess they have Pixie in here somewhere, like the chick with like the butterfly wings. They have Angel. I think one of them is Angel. I think the chick in the burqa is named Sand, which racist, but I'm not. Anyway, so hang on, mutants. Anyway, so go ahead and what did you think of this part? Like them, like they introduced them to the danger room. They show the Sentinel bust through the wall.
They set up something in this scene that they use again later that didn't make much sense to me. So in all of these things, if just because something doesn't make sense to me, might just mean that I'm being stupid. But so they set up that in order to continue as a school, and so that Xavier can still at least give mutants a place to be safe and to learn how to use their powers. Essentially, the X-Men can't get involved in anything anymore. Is sort of what the UN has said or someone has said.
Like they lose their charter if they do.
Yeah. But it seems really loosey-goosey with that. Because of that, they're just going to do that. Charles has now made Storm headmistress. Makes loads of sense. Storm has been headmistress in a very key part of the school in loads of other X-Men adaptations and earlier on in this show. But later on, there is a problem, and Polaris has come back, has moved back into her old room. I think there's a line where they say that Professor X said they shouldn't change her room at all, and it'll always be there for her. So this is ostensibly her home and somewhere she is welcome. But then she is already a previous student of the Xavier Academy, but she's separate enough that she can go do something about a threat and interfere with things, and that won't impact the school charter. And that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, no, that's because like later on in the episode when Danger goes to attack Genosha, she's like, "Oh, we can't do anything," and so so she goes and has to fight it because technically she's not an X-Man still, but so I guess just vigilantism is just okay. Like they just be cool with just mutants just doing shit, but just not in X-Men colors.
Yeah, is that it? Like you have to sort of like have some degree of separation away from the X-Men, which at some point it just goes like Polaris moves like, wait, hang on, you're just setting me up for the fall. I'm the patsy here. Is that it? Like so that if I get caught and in trouble, you guys can go, oh no, we don't know her. Nah. I mean, don't know.
I mean, kind of, yeah. So here, real quick, I got a list of all the characters that. So we have. I show them here, a few of them, but we got Eye Boy, we got Chamber. There's Sink, No Girl, Shark Girl, Tattoo, Dust was the name, not Sand. Literally, we have someone named Beak, so I'm assuming that's that one. We got they show Boom Boom as a character. They show Cypher, Nature Girl. Like they have just a lot of characters in here that again are just like super deep cuts from other X-Men comics.
Yeah, I think I remember Sink is like a guy I think who can. I think sort of rogue style can take on other people's powers.
Mhm.
Like he can like sync
That's
up
cool.
with people that are nearby.
Oh, that's actually kind of a cool power. I wonder if you have multiple mutants in the room, can you like sync up with multiple powers? That
Oh, maybe.
That'd be kind of cool. But yeah, so we get to see that. Yeah, we get to have Solaris come back to yeah, like you said, come back to her room, like see that she, she's always welcome. This is her home, and that she's technically like always considered as part of the X-Men. We also get to see that cool little picture of I'm trying to pull it up. I don't know why it won't do it. But yeah, we get to see the cool picture of her as an X-Men. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so we get to see like the old like deep cut like 90 or 80s looking X-Men.
Yeah. It might even. I think that might be sort of like to the 50s because like the OG X-Men when Beast didn't have fur before he turned blue and had fur, and Bobby Drake is still there, and Angel has regular wings instead of metal wings.
Yeah, back when she was called Marvel Girl as opposed to Jean Grey.
Oh yeah,
which that was new to me. I'm like, the last season calls her Marvel Girl. I'm like, what the fuck? I had to Google that. No, that's like an old archaic way to call Jean Grey.
Yeah, it's real old school.
But yeah, so basically we do have this is the main thing of the episode is her having to like come to terms with being Magneto's daughter and having his same powers and being feared by people while still being like no, I don't accept him, like Charles is my father, I want to be, I'm an X-Man kind of thing. So and then we get to
and there's more as Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah, that was fun. I enjoyed all of that. Like this was a pretty cool episode just because again like the deep cuts and then like getting to see Polaris, like because again this is a character that they don't really deal with even in the original show. So I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, and then we get them going into the danger room where they're like, yeah, they have their like holodeck malfunction. And what did you think of this part where they reveals that the holodeck that the Cerebro is connected to the danger room and can like scan your memories and put threats into the room for you? Like I thought that was pretty cool. So
I thought it was cool too. Makes loads of sense that would be something they could do if you've got Cerebro tech. I can see you'd start building it into everything, but definitely for something like the danger room so that it can react most appropriately to the people who are in it.
Mm-hmm. Like I guess that's kind of cool. So it can like if it wants to. That's kind of messed up though because it can do this kind of like Scarecrow style thing where it like scans your like deepest fear. And it does this thing of like, oh, you Polaris, you're playing the hero, but you're always doomed to become a villain. And I like how it shows like the Magneto like silhouette that pops up. Like it's pretty awesome. Like I thought this like that went pretty hard. And then I like how it also ends up becoming to the point where like she becomes like a full on like robot. Like the danger room becomes a full on I want to say like an Ex Machina style robot.
Or like it reminds me of Ultron, sort of creates a body and then moves on with it.
Kind of, yeah, exactly, and decides to go to Genosha to go kill Charles. At which point,
this all makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, whatever reasons, it's just like, oh well, yeah, you guys need to get stronger. So what do I need to do? I need to go kill Charles Xavier, and that ends up leading to. I'm like, we see this cool part where his like chair has guns and shit on it. Like that's kind of bitching. Like I don't think I've ever seen him use that the chair that yellow flying chair as a weapon before. So that's kind of awesome.
Yeah. Hey Charlie, this would have been really useful a long time ago. You could have done this before.
Yeah, no, straight up. Like so getting to see that he's like even in the chair he's not necessarily like helpless is kind of cool.
I think it's a good thing in the story, but I always feel that Charles Xavier gets ripped off that he doesn't have any telekinesis. Like he's telepathic and he can read everyone's mind and he's like one of the greatest mind readers around and can stop people's hearts and things like that. But the guy can't fly and every other psychic can.
Right? Dude, Rogue can fly and like he still can't. And like, yeah, no. So I mean, I guess it'd be a little overpowered if he could like control the world around him too. Because if he can like make you think and do things for him, then it would be like too much for him to also be able to, oh yeah, I can move the planet if I wanted to because I'm so powerful. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
I think he gets it. Yeah, because he can like freeze time essentially. Like, let's not give him any more power than that. You know. Let me see here. So, but yeah, during this fight, Polaris does show up, and she ends up like, I guess I'm gonna say like unlocking her like Omega style or like level power, because she ends up like creating essentially, she goes full on Magneto and creates like a what's it, like this magnetic like storm.
Yeah. Just like tear it apart,
which is cool. Like it's awesome, and I'm like, I really enjoyed this show, but I'm just like, yeah, I wonder what they're going to end up doing with Polaris, because it's like, it seems like they are gearing her up to be the next Magneto, but not necessarily in a bad way, not like an evil one. Like, she's going to have like that kind of style of power where she could shut down the world, but she's going to use it for like good things. You know what I'm saying?
I do think it'll be really interesting. I think that something that I would love to see more of, we got a little bit in the first season when after the death of Gambit, Rogue goes and joins Magneto. I do think it'd be fun to have more people questioning Professor X in this, because like even like this episode, he is just very strange in it for me, and not in a bad way. I think he's just fascinating, and that's why I think like it makes sense to me that he's actually struggling and not dealing with anything very well. Because even him saying, "Oh, we're gonna rebuild Genosha again, and we're not gonna let them get us down," it's just sort of like, I'm not sure this is the best thing for you to do. I don't know if you should be in charge of this, Charles. Like, you've kind of let a lot of people down.
So yeah, here's one thing I don't particularly care for. So check this out. Like, they have these costumes, right? Like, they show these like kind of awesome. Like, this is the first time I think I've ever seen them wear these kind of costumes in this show. And then almost immediately, like they do the X Corp thing, and I think they like change it almost immediately because he busts out like the black leather. And again, they're all like donning like the black leather outfits and stuff. I think that's the part that bugs me about it. But yeah, no, it is kind of like, I think it's dumb how the U.S. government's like, no, we're not going to let him do this now. He's over here in Genosha. Like, but we're going to have some words about them. Like, but it's not the X-Men anymore. He's not now. He's doing it. I don't know what X Corp is supposed to be. Is like is that like Batman Inc.?
I guess so. I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting to see the scene at the beginning of the episode where, they're going, "Hey, you can't kill them. You're not supposed to fight them." And we're there going, hang on. These people are armed terrorists. That's exactly the sort of thing that governments do. Not, I won't just say just the United States. Governments do that. Then for them to go, okay, well, we're going to be offshores outside of your country's jurisdiction, and we're going to be a company, and we're a corporation. We can do this. That happens all the time. Again, it's a thing that's real, and that there's genuinely laws that stop people from doing anything about people who do that. It's like, no, you can't. We're not in the United States. You don't have jurisdiction. Deal with it.
It's like he gave his school to Storm, so she's not doing anything there. Like, it's like, you guys can't stop him. Like, he's rich. It's like, I hate to be that guy, but he's rich. Also, how fucking rich is he? Because like, if he can rebuild the mansion like 3 or 4 times over, he can rebuild the X-Jet, like, he has the money to rebuild the X-Jet, and then also to set up this corporation and rebuild Genosha. I'm like, dude, how wealthy he's Elon Musk levels of wealthy.
Yeah. I would love it if like there was some sort of story that went into like how all of his wealth comes from insider trading. like all he does is he just hangs around Wall Street like twice a month, reads people's minds, and then goes like, right, buy this, sell that.
Or he just makes like rich assholes transfer money into his account, like, and he just makes that like, hey, donate to the Xavier fund. Like, he just kind of does that and he incepts them and makes them think it was their idea.
Yeah. He's actually that guy. Christian Bale from The Big Short didn't figure out that the housing market was going to collapse. He did. And he was like, and you're going to do all these things, and then I'm going to make money off of it.
That's fucking dude. Oh my god. I think we just cracked how Xavier has so much money. No, he goes to casinos. He knows exactly what the fucking dealer has. It's like, oh, I'm gonna hit on it. Like, oh, you want me to think you have 17, but no, you don't. You know what I'm
it's
saying?
either that or it is literally like the Elon Musk thing. And it's like, well, the Xavier family owns an emerald mine. It's like, in fact, it owns a lot of mines throughout Africa. And then, like, at some point, all the X-Men are going to find out, like, Storm's going to be like, what? It's like, what are you talking about?
I mean, we also ended on this part where they're like, "Oh, our biggest threat now, apocalypse." It's like, yeah, that was always your biggest threat, dude. We know.
He's been your biggest threat for a real long time, my guy.
Yeah, but anyway, that's. I wanted to also talk about this before we end up ending the episode.
Oh, yeah.
I really appreciated this part of having the Watcher in the background, like check like for this particular part, because he's also he saw the fall of Genosha where Gambit died, and so now he's watching this part where Gambit returns.
Oh shit!
It's like I think this is the best part of the episode, and this was probably my favorite one, is because we get to this ending part. It's 30 seconds long, but Gambit's like his playing cards turn into fucking tarot cards.
Oh yeah,
and they end up covering his body and transforming him into the Horseman. I think Death. He's supposed to be the Horseman Death.
Oh damn!
And so yeah, that's kind of awesome. We're gonna get fucking goth, even more gothic than before. Fucking like, I fuck with that. I don't know how you're looking forward to it, but I totally fuck with this.
Yeah, I'm down. And you know, like for some reason, like I've talked in the last season, I have no time for Jean Grey and Scott Summers like romance plots, but I have all the time in the world for Rogue and Gambit. Like I can't justify it. It's
undead Gambit. He gets to fuck Rogue. She can't kill a dead guy.
It's oh my god,
it's gonna work.
The biggest problem in X-Men finally solved.
Just turn Gambit into a zombie, and then we done it. Oh,
that which is dead can never die, mon cher.
Yes, because Gambit is going to be on the Salt Throne. All right, so with that, I think that's where we're gonna like. What would you rate these 3 episodes? I'm gonna rate. I think I rate them a good 4 out of 5 because they're pretty good.
Yeah. I think we can go with that. Yeah, they're fun at times, especially the alien episode is just kind of fun. As much as there are bits where, like I said, I don't gel with them as much. I think that is more just because I'm older and because I've just gotten off of rewatching Game of Thrones. And so I'm like, oh, this feels so childish to me now. No, they're really solid and a perfect continuation of the original show.
Yeah, no, I think you're right though. It'd be much better if we had a few more boobs and maybe just one flaccid wiener here or there.
just every now and then, you know, just like if just conversations that have nothing to do with sex were just being taking place in brothels,
like straight up, we could have some, you know, maybe some light incest, and like we can get, you know, Scarlet Witch and fucking Quicksilver in here,
yeah.
You know, have some creepy like Daenerys Targaryen stuff going on. You know what I'm saying? Like we could get there. We could definitely get there. Nah, but on that note, I think it's time for us to wrap it up. I'm looking forward to the future of these episodes. I don't know about you. Like,
I'm interested to see where it goes. Yeah, the Undead Gambit is really exciting. I think I want to see what we do with Apocalypse because I'm hoping they'll do something that is kind of new and isn't just a time travel thing or something, you know, some satisfying way to wrap up this Apocalypse storyline they've got going on.
And official theory, it's going to be the power of love is stronger. Something like that. He's going to get laid, and it's going to turn out that it's like you know what? Maybe I shouldn't destroy the universe.
Maybe it's just going to be Gambit's Bayou charm is just going to like win him over.
We'll see.
I'm saying we could take over the planet, or we could go down to Bourbon Street and have a great time, mon frere.
But anyway, like I'm looking forward to it, and we will be reviewing the following 3 episodes not next week, but when they come out, you know, when there's the next 3 come out, we will be doing those. And you know, I think that's gonna be the end of our episode. So that's been the Fulcrum Entertainment Podcast. Thank you guys all for being here. Thank you to Bianca, to Dead Guy, And to any of the other guys who were in here watching and lurking, we appreciate you all for being here. Make sure you check us out next week because we'll either be doing a shoot the shit or maybe we'll be doing the Avatar movie. I don't know. We'll be doing one. We'll be doing something.
And we got that Avengers trailer to talk about.
Oh shoot, we also do have the. So maybe a shoot the shit. Maybe we'll just be doing a shoot the shit episode. But until next time, I have been Gilbert.
I've been Harry.
And this has been the Fulcrum Entertainment Podcast. Thank you guys all for being here and watching, and we will see you all next time. And remember, we are all Fulcrum. Bye, everybody.